Good evening and welcome to the Drive at 5 on the IntellectualRadio.com/iHeartRadio station. I'm your host, Roman. We have a great show planned for you today. But first, forecast from our IntellectualRadio.com Weather Center today. Breezy with rain and drizzle, tapering off, then on warm, then turning cool, high 65 degrees. Tonight, cloudy, breezy, sunny, in all one, but the temperatures will drop to 48 degrees tomorrow. Morning showers in areas, then cloudy, breezy, and cooler, high 51 degrees. Tomorrow night, clear, low 41 degrees. Wednesday, partly sunny, high 58 degrees. Thursday, partly cloudy, cool 52 degrees. And Friday, partly sunny, 58 degrees. The Drive at 5 is also part of the Monday night lineup, starting with Becoming Dateable at 11 at 6 p.m., New Black Leadership Coalition at 7 p.m., The Great Entrepreneur at 8 p.m., The Chronicles of Ram at 9 p.m. The Drive at 5 is also part of the guest is an actor, comedian, television host, motivation, book titled what? Simeon, right?
So, so I have my book Through the Eyes of a Man, and my next book, I actually have two coming out. One is called Driven, Be the Driver of Your Success, and the other one is Be where people, when they need that daily inspiration or that motivation to drive them, they'll be able to listen to the motivational talks with the music in the background, and it's going to be really, really, really exciting. It's going to be a lot of energy, and it's just going to push people to be their best. And that's what I've been on lately. It's Breast Cancer Survivor Month and Awareness Month. And I see my girl Jocelyn, who's going to be on my show this week, and all of the supporters, Jonica Witherspoon. I'm be here with you, and just ready to get it in.
Please give a Drive at 5. Welcome to Simeon and Henderson. Welcome to the Drive. I didn't announce you, did you?
So my background is I'm an athlete, and a little bit about my story. A lot of people know my story. A lot of people don't know my story. I had an IEP growing up. I couldn't read till I was in 6th grade, and I wasn't. Back then they called it the slow class, or I wasn't as smart as everyone else. But in my eyes, I was just a different learner, tutorial, and hands-on or memorization and things like that. But I was determined not to let someone's opinion become my reality. So I worked really hard along with my mother, a couple of my uncles, and some of my mentors to build and get to where I wanted to be, because I was an athlete. And if you know anything about an athlete, if you didn't play, it was for one or two reasons: either because you were hurt or because of your grades. And I never wanted to be labeled a dumb jock. So I did everything I could and worked extra hard to get to the next level so I could be successful and obtain good grades. And ended up graduating from college. I have a master's degree, and now I speak to thousands of people and learn 100-page scripts. And I've been a TV host, and I'm a host now, and just working hard to continue to be my best.
Tell us a little bit about your book.
So my book. So growing up on the west side of Chicago in a heavily drug infested and gang area, it was one of those things where you were expected to fall into that. And my book, it's called Through the Eyes of a Man. And the chapters in my book are titled Facing Your Goliath, Surviving the Wilderness, Walking on Water, Turning Water to Wine. And these are all symbolic of the different trials and tribulations that we go through in life. And the book was comprised of the stories that I've gone through. A lot of people don't know that I was abused, and I went through a form of abuse, physical abuse. And I was told what I couldn't do. So there was a lot of hurt, a lot of pain. I was bullied, and I was bullied, and then I became a bully because hurting people hurt other people. So there was these different levels that I went through in my life, these different times of hurt and pain that pushed me ways that I didn't want to go. But then because of my mom and the love of God and our faith, and me coming from a heavy pastoral background. I come from over 100 years of ministry, from my great grandfather Hobson Jackson, to my grandfather Johnny Jackson, to my grandfather Samuel Jackson, my uncle John Joseph Jackson, and then what I do is ministry as well. So just walking by faith, and the book is about walking by faith and not letting somebody's opinion become your reality.
You mentioned hurt people hurt people.
Yes.
That's been said on my show over and over again, and I cringe on that
Right.
because it gives a license
Hmm.
to hurt someone
Right.
that basically didn't do anything to you.
Yes.
So, could you describe to us, you were bullied,
Right.
when it became apparent for you to say, well, since I've been bullied, I'm going to bully somebody else, even though they didn't have nothing to do
Right.
with your abuse?
Right. And this is the tripped out thing about it. You guys got to get the book. I had released my book on my own. I didn't have a publicist or anything like that. I did everything on my own. So now I want to re-release this book to the masses, where it can go glue it, literally slap me upside my head every morning as we sat in the circle at class. And it just got to a point, and I was scared to tell anybody because it was like the man code. You don't tell anybody that a girl is beating you up. All I know is she was slapping the heck out of me, and it hurt. So at first, and I put it out, she was one of the first people to comment on my page because we're adults now, you know. And sometimes as kids we do things and we're not really um, aware of how it's really making someone feel.
You mentioned you were bullied, abused, having learning disabilities as well
Hmm.
as violence in your book. How did you overcome these obstacles? You mentioned the girl who bullied you,
Hmm.
and you decided, well, I'm going to join the club.
Right.
And I mean, how did you overcome the obstacle? How did you get over that? You said recently she inboxed you. Did you say that?
I know how she found me because our families grew up together. So it wasn't like that. It's one of those things. I had to really. I think back and I forgave a lot of people for a lot of things, and I kind of I give it and if you know my mother ain't having that, and it was one of those things where she broke me out of it real quick. So it was having a loving mother that really didn't play that. And you know, it was one of those things where you know how your parents, you hide things from them. And the way I overcame it was my mom talked to me, laid hands on me a little bit, and wasn't raising you to be like that. And then I came out of that, and she said, whatever we do, we don't ever put our hand. And henceforth, when I was abused physically by an adult, um, I wouldn't tell anybody. And the reason I wouldn't tell anybody, it was really to protect that person. Because had my dad found out, had my uncle
Stuff coming out with it.
my mom always taught me to treat people right. And so at this point, as a young teenager or preteen, I had to, I was always trying to help people. And that's why I used to always say I had help. And then I got to a point where I didn't want to protect anymore. I didn't want to hurt anymore. I wanted to get past it. And I'm still harboring some feelings towards people and about my father dying. She told me, she said, son, you got to let it go. And it opened my eyes, and then I started letting things go and learning how to deal with them, because as black men and men in general, we tell somebody we've been hurt, and that's not the truth. We have to open up because we have to let it go. When we let it go, the healing process can begin, and when the healing process begins, we can move forward.
But that's not what society
No.
says. Society said you got to hold it in. You
Right.
got to be a man. You're a wimp.
Hmm.
I don't want no man crying. I don't want this, that, and the other. Why should I be with a man that cries?
Right.
Why, as a whole,
Um,
am I out there to people?
you know, it's one of those things where it's an image that's portrayed. A man is supposed to be macho. A man is supposed to be tough. A man is supposed to be able to protect himself, protect his family, protect what's his. And in reality, we have to understand is that no matter what the world throws at us, there's always a reality. And sometimes We get a false reality when we look at the world, when we look at television. And what we have to do is we have to learn how to decipher what's false and what's real. And in a real world, a woman has feelings. Children have feelings. So you need to learn how to express those feelings, because if you don't, you'll suppress them and it'll be bottled up. And at one point in time, it might erupt like a volcano. And that's when it can hurt people and it can hurt you.
In your book, when you was writing it,
Mhm.
was it hard to rehash those memories
Oh man.
and your willingness to share it with people? I mean, did you say this is too much to share? This is, I mean, and to relive it. It's kind
Mhm.
of sometimes when people write memoirs
Right.
to tell a story.
Mhm.
This is my beginning. This is how I
Yeah.
overcame. This is what.
When I was in my book, there would be days I would sit on the couch, see, and I would be home by myself and I would just keep writing, keep typing. And the sun goes down and I'm so in it that I don't even get up to turn the light on. And I'm writing in the dark or typing in the dark. And there were times when I cried. There were times when I laughed. There were times when I was like, oh, I can't believe that it really happened to me. And so there was a plethora of emotions that ran through my mind. There was different emotions, different ups and downs as I went through the journey of telling the story. And dig this, I haven't even told the whole story yet. This book does not tell the whole story. This tells part of the story. I got another part of the story that will absolutely blow your mind. And I just not ready to do it yet.
To be continued in the next book, right?
Hey,
Motivational speaker, educator, now author. Why you think it's important to tell your personal story now versus later? Everything's going well with you.
mhm.
You're in commercials. You're even in a union commercial.
Yep.
Why now?
Been out picketing for the last 3 days with the CTU.
Yeah, but why now to tell your story? Why, I mean, versus later to say,
It's time. It's time.
why do you think it's time?
I think it's time because if you pay attention to the world and what's going on, and you look at when you open up, okay, it's like you have to have a dream, right? And you have to have purpose and you have to have goals. But you know what the most important thing is? And this is what I like your radio and Earl. Um, you have to be connected to your purpose. People miss it last night. And people were coming up and speaking to me. I didn't even know. And then some of them I knew. One thing about you, you have still the way I treat people, the way I talk to people, the way I present myself to people. And I think it's so important for like right now, there's so much going on in this world. We need something good. We need something positive. We need inspiring. We need something motivational and educational. And I won't come off of it, Roman. I won't come. Earl will tell you since I started doing the show at Intellectual Radio, before I started working for WCIU, before I was on Netflix, before I started doing my own show, I was always speaking positive. Always. And you can go back years on my Facebook timeline. You will always see the same thing. And the thing about that, Roman, is people sometimes change and divert because they want views, because they want popularity. And I didn't care if there was one person or 100 people watching, my story was staying the same. And now people are watching every morning and they're being inspired. And they say, how do you come up with inspirational stuff every day? It's because I'm connected. It's because I'm connected to you. I'm connected to them. That's within me that makes me want to just help people and be there for people.
You are a product of the West Side and proud of it. At
West
times,
Side.
at go ahead, say it. Is it you?
I was gonna say West Side till I died.
You are a product of the West Side and proud of it. At times, you get angry because West Side is kind of falsely characterized.
How you know that?
people.
How'd you know that about me?
I do my research
Okay, because I do.
By others from other areas in the
Right.
city. Please tell us about that.
So the thing that I
It bugs you.
the thing
Why-
that
why
bugs
bug-
me the
yeah,
most
yeah.
is when people say, Simeon, you don't look like you from the West Side. And then, but one of my good friends, Mark Harris, he'll say, Oh no, if you know Simeon, you know he from the West Side. And I always tell people, what does somebody from the West Side look like? What do we sound like? What's the difference? My nickname is Mr. Chicago. Chicago is east, west, north, south, suburbs. And me, I'm well traveled. I am a city boy. But I just think that we need to stop categorizing each other and where we're from and just look at who we are. So let's just look at the people for who they are and stop saying West Side. But I'll rep my side in a minute. I throw up the W's in a minute. So West Side.
Eh, you mentioned your struggles in the book throughout your life now on intellectualradio.com/iHeart radio station, who is struggling right now and made sacrifices. You made sacrifices throughout your life. What advice would you give them that's in your book? You say you have overcome some of these obstacles. You overcame. You did what you had to do. What advice? How?
You got to face your giants. How do you face your giants? You have to face, first of all, you have to be honest. You have to tell the truth. You have to accept the fact that it's a giant. You have to accept the fact that it's a roadblock or a hindrance. You have to accept the fact that it's something that makes you uncomfortable. And then you know what you have to say to yourself, Roman? What is it worth to me? What is that breath of body worth? What is the activity of your limbs worth? What is the ability to smell flowers and what it's worth to you if it's worth fighting for? If it's worth fighting for, that means it means have a be symbolic moment, as I call it, when you because it means being deeply rooted stimulates growth. When you can dig deep and you can and just you dig deep and you it's like being a cowboy. Sometimes you got to strap on and you got to hold on tight and you got to ride it out.
But some people would say, I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of fighting. I oh, every time I bump up or a notch or a step up, it knocks me back down. Every time financial increase,
Right.
here comes something in my life. Here's this, here's that, blah, blah, blah. I'm tired of fighting. I mean, I got my daughter, my son, got him on the right path. Here comes somebody, introduced him to drugs, introduced her to prostitution, introduced a whole slew of things. What I'm saying is sometimes the fight is out of you. How they can gain that fight back. You talk about obstacles, overcoming. You do a lot of motivational every single morning that I watch. And you're very positive. But if someone is losing, like the wind is knocked out of them, you say fight, face the giant. I'm tired of the giant. I'm tired of fighting.
So that's when I go back to this. When I go back to that, no one is immune to the trials and tribulations of life. That means that you're gonna get knocked down. Hell, you're gonna get knocked out sometimes. And I'm talking about you're gonna be reeling. But that's when you have to dig deeper. That's when you have to understand your greater purpose. That's when you have to lean on your brother, lean on your sister. You have to call on people. See, that's where it becomes a team thing. When you can't fight no more, you got to find somebody that can take your arm and put it around and lift you up. You got to find somebody who's going to be in your corner. You got to find somebody who understands the fight. You have to be around like-minded people. They say iron sharpens iron. So you need to get around some iron. You got to get away from wood. You need some iron. You need something that's going to sharpen you up. You have to know that you need help. You have to be willing to get help, and you have to be willing to take help. I always say, I did a thing one time says, today the motivator needs to be motivated. I have times when I cry and no one sees it. Everybody sees me smiling. Everybody sees me happy. Everybody sees me motivating. But they don't see, Roman, when I'm by myself in a gym and I have a breakdown, or if I'm in a shower and I have a breakdown, or I'm driving my car and I have a breakdown. But when that breakdown is over, I look at myself in the mirror and I know who I am. I know my worth and I know my purpose. And when you know that, you can start over and you can continue to build. But you have to know it, really rock with you and want to see you do what it is that you do.
What you want the reader to take out of your book? once they read it? What information you want them to obtain by reading your book?
I want people to know that no matter what you've gone through, no matter where you're from, no matter where you're at the end of the day, if you stay consistent and committed, if you stay faithful and focused, if you dig deep, that you'll grow. It's like seed time and harvest. If you're ready for, you have to be ready for the fight.
To be continued, how can people get your book and get in contact with you?
People can get in contact with me at Simeon Henderson 9. Or well, no, let me give you guys my professional email now. Or Simeon Henderson 9 at gmail.com. Simeon Henderson on all. The one thing about me is I'm reachable and I'm touchable. No matter what I've done, where I'm at, I'm connected to the people, and that's how I live my life, and I won't change it for anything in the world. And I appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys continue to support my brother Roman on the drive at 5. And make sure you tune into the Simeon Henderson show. And big shout out to my man Earl, the other Winfrey at Intellectual Radio, who gave me my start, not only in radio, but in a lot of.
Yeah. Sometimes he has to get in my head and say, "You don't." No, I'm just But for being on the show, we're gonna present your book to our sister Facebook, which I think you're associated with it, but if not, we will hook you up. Black Products and Black Services, so you can advertise your books and your products anytime, anywhere, any place, courtesy of your man or Winfrey. When we come back, don't be a stranger though, man.
Hey, I'm always. I came in the door. Earl said, "Welcome home." Hey, that's all I gotta hear, baby. All I gotta hear. And he know I still gotta come around because I still got stuff stored in his back.
When we come back on the Drive at 5 on intellectualradio.com/iHeartRadio station, we'll have the one and only Sharon Chester and Ali Primera, contestants of Miss Western Lady USA US, when we come back.
You are tuned into the #1 radio station in the world. IntellectualRadio.com. Feed your brain.
And we're back on the Drive at 5 on intellectualradio.com/iHeartRadio station. Miss Elegance USA, right?
Miss American Elegance.
Oh, Miss American Elegance, of many staples of beauty, intellect, and community service pageantry in America. This year, we have 3 of the most highly qualified candidates in our studios today, and they are no stranger to the Drive at 5 at all. Please give a Drive at 5 welcome. Introduce yourself.
I am Najima Ali, Miss American Elegance, Midwest U.S. Woman 2019.
I am Sharon Chester, Miss Midwestern U.S. Lady.
And you got a sound
2019.
effects after that. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Kenya Bernardo, England. I am Mrs. Land of Lincoln, American Elegance 2019.
Man, I've never been surrounded with so much beauty in my entire life. So please give intellectualradio.com/iHeart is no stranger to the Drive at 5. Give us an update on what's been going on since the last time you guys been here, starting with you.
Oh, so the last time I was here, I was talking about Thrive Life and Business Coaching, which is my platform. So currently right now with Thrive, we just got off tour. So I toured the East Coast and I did a lot about building people up in the communities, letting people know that they are more than enough to do whatever it is in this world that they want to do. And so since I left, I think I came before I competed for state. And so I didn't have this title. So I went for this title. And so, I followed pageantry for many years. My sister, Sabiha Hussein, who you're familiar with, she is our national queen. So she is Miss National Lady currently, which is what Sharon's going after her title in October at the end of the month. And so, I watched it from afar for so many years and I decided to put my head in the ring. So I'm super excited to see where this goes. I am on the countdown to the crown. That's what we're doing. That's what we're here now to talk about, just the amazing things of American elegance and just things that's going on individually with us separately.
Well, me, a lot is going on with me since we last been here. I do the grocery giveaways, as you know, weekly, which my platform is food insecurity. And I want to help end food insecurity. And though it can't be ended, we can make an impact of it. So I host the grocery giveaways with Hojo Family Assistance Program. And we give away 12,000 pounds of food on the weekends with different community partners. And so I've been working and doing that. And I do a lot in the community. So I've been doing my community things as well. And I got my crown at state back in June as well. And since then, I've been working and making appearances and doing different things as well as continuing what I do in community service because guys, that I am a community service person. That's my life. That's my thing, doing community service. And so I will strive to, I'm going to say, take to be his crown, but no.
Just so we're clear, with pageantry, right? It's an accomplishment just to step on that stage. So win, lose, or draw, we're all winners. Amen. You're a winner when you decided that you were going to put your name in the ring for this crown. So whether you take her crown or not, know that you're a winner when you got on that stage.
I was just joking because
she's
she's like my big sister. So, and we nationals is this weekend, and so we are all competing in nationals, and we have Ms. Kenya.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is, again, Kenya Bernardo, England, and I'm new to pageantry. This is my very first time competing.
I think this is all of our first time, Kenya, so you welcome. Yeah.
We all are. My very first time as well.
Okay, definitely my first time. Very nervous, but very, very grateful for the opportunity. I am also here for my platform. It was self-created because it was created during a time where I was really, really in a bad place. And I just knew that people needed to know that they were loved, whether or not they felt it at the time. And just to let people know that, seeking help or as well as going to speak with someone whenever you're feeling down or not feeling well is okay. And my platform is to love you for free, and I just feel that if everyone just does that and shares that with each other, it'll be a better place.
Oh, I love you for free.
I can contest to that because she showed me love when I walked in the studio.
She did. She gave really great hugs. Roman's nephew, she gave him a hug, which is so cute.
Please explain, if chosen in your pageantry or in your specialty, what it will mean as a person or to others if chosen for the crown.
If chosen for the crown, it would mean a great deal to me. That's why I'm competing. But it's one thing that stand out to me the most is I'm doing this for other people as well, right? The people who think that they aren't more than enough, the people who was told by naysayers that they can't do a certain thing. I'm doing it for them. And for most of my clients, right, they actually sent me text messages today and was like, congratulations, you're competing. I said, it's not today, but keep that energy coming because I'm an energy person. I live off energy. So I'm doing it as a sense of accomplishment for myself. I watched my sister get up there and put all her fears to the side with me in the background coaching her to do so, saying that you are more than my slogan. Anybody that knows me, that's what I live by, knowing that you are more than enough to do whatever it is that you put your mind to do, because I believe that all of us have the potential that already exists within us to be great.
I detect a T-shirt in that. There you go.
Well, for me, the same. It'll bring more awareness to my platform, which is food insecurity. This has, for me, allowed me to reach more people and to get my message out there because I'm just little old me. But I work really hard to do all the things that I do with the grocery giveaway, as well as, I feed the homeless when I'm driving, doing the drop-offs, or if I see someone giving a backpack or different things like that. So this has allowed me, one, to surround myself by a lot of great positive women and build my sisterhood with the women that have a lot of things that are in common with me: community service, the warmthness. Everyone has a platform that is involved with something. It's not just, my biggest thing is I'm a working queen and I work. And what I mean by working queen is I get out there and get my hands dirty. I'm lifting boxes. I'm getting scratched up and dirty because I'm at the grocery giveaway, giving away in the boxes and doing the labor and stuff, as well as I'm out in the community being an advocate, asking for donations to support food insecurity and different things like that. So it will mean a lot to me. And it also, this has helped me to understand and know that people have what is it? Concept? It's not a concept, but they seem to think that queens,
Stereotypes.
yeah, that's the word. They seem to think that pageant queens are just beauty and they don't get along with each other and they're competitive with one. That's not how it is. We all work hard. We're sisters, and it's a sisterhood, and we surround ourselves with positive sisters. If someone needs help, we help each other out. So I wanted to help and make sure that that stereotype isn't out there, because that isn't what I have experienced. And this being my first year, I haven't experienced that at all. I've grown a sisterhood with both of my sisters here, as well as other sister queens that I have.
And I think the most thing that you can do, Sharon, and you're doing it, right, is to break those stereotypes by showing them that this right here is a value. This is what I'm doing, and you're a working queen, and I love that so much.
Yes. Of course, for me, it would be a great pleasure to win. For one, because I am a full figure woman. And that's another thing that really attracted me to the pageant, was that they embrace women from all economic backgrounds. Size didn't matter. Nothing mattered. It's just, if you're a queen, if you work hard, if you believe in serving people, come see us. So that was what really attracted me to it, and made me want to get out of the fear. I really, really have a fear of speaking in public. So
No.
You're doing great.
You're doing great right now.
I really have, but I feel like it's really not public, because right now I feel like it's just the
Intimate.
four of
It's
us,
intimate,
but
yeah.
I know it's other people, but I really do. And I'm getting out of that. And this is allowing that to happen. And then just to get out there to let people know that you can do it, no matter age, no matter whatever it is, you can do it. It's never too late.
So Ali and Sharon, briefly explain this. Mentoring is a big part of the pageantry, and you have a unique experience together. Ali, you own your very own company, and Sharon, you work for that same company.
Yes.
How do you both make the working environment and mentorship work for one another?
You know what? In life, there's certain hats that you wear across the board, right? And one of those hats for me is a mentor. I am a leader by nature and by characteristic. That is something that I bring to my team. just today, right? Because right now I run several different areas in my company, and one of the areas is called HRIS, which is the implementation and the configuration of systems, and then the other one is payroll. And so oftentimes I hear my staff say, "Oh, that payroll did that," or HRIS did that. So I took them today in the boardroom and I drew on the board and I put payroll versus HRIS. I said, "What does this mean to you?" And they said, "Well, it seems like we're against each other." I said, "Exactly." So we need to bridge the gap in between what you think and where you at now and where you want to be, right? So as a mentor, I helped him understand that this is one company and we're all here for the same goal. So this is exactly what Sharon, and she always posts on Facebook that I helped her so much, and she's a thriver. That's what I call people who uniquely make
You
that
are
next
me?
step is a thriver. And so I keep that relationship because we are friends outside of her working for me and outside of the pageantry. We've been friends for years. We actually became friends working in the community
Yep.
alongside with Sabia Hussein, and my other company, 35 and Up VIP, as you remember, is the cornerstone for everything. And then it just blossomed into Thrive. So Sharon and I, we have a really good relationship because of all three of those things connected. And she understands that I'm her leader and I'm guiding her to make sure that she is more than enough, that she can reach the goals that she never thought she could.
Basically, yeah, it is true. I always tell her I'm a successful thriver of hers because she has mentored me in my career as well as in personal life and different things when I have issues or problems and don't know, if something's going on and I'm like, well, where do I go in my career with this part, or how do I do this? And she gives me that kick in the butt and says, you need to do this. You need to focus. This is how you do it. This is where you are in your career. And if you want to go further, you need to do this. And with me, I love that constructive criticism. It's not that you're being negative about it, but she's telling me what I need to hear. Even when I don't want to hear it, I still listen, because listening and learning from someone who has been there has gotten me to where I am in my career now. So I've started, I tell her I started off just being a temp person. And I went from temp to contractor, from contractor to a full-time job. And then I got promoted. And then now I got promoted again. So it's good
And not
to
because
listen.
she's my friend. No, because she actually put the work in.
There's no friendship when it comes to business. She's like, no. So it has been learning under her mentorship and taking that advice that she gives me and learning it and applying it. And from applying it, I have been able to be successful in where I'm at. So that's why I always say, I'm who I am because of her. But then she say, no, you're who are you because you sustain the things that you have learned and maintained.
Amen.
So, community service is very important. Please explain why community service is so important to serve your community than none at all.
So for me, community service is not something that I just take for granted or something just to do. It's a lifestyle for me. I was born into community service. My father was a community activist in Inglewood, and he had an organization called Black Youth in Action, in which when he passed on, I took over. And so from then, at an early age, I was taught that it was my obligation and my responsibility to lift up the community in any form or fashion that I possibly can. And that means using my resources and partnering with other organizations and things like that to make sure that the community is thriving.
Well, for me, again, I'm like the community queen. I call myself the community queen because I'm always in the community. Doing community service isn't something that is like a fad, or it is something because it's for show. I do community service because I truly want to make people's lives better. I truly want to give back. So, and whatever shape, form, or fashion in which I can give back, I do that. From it being a grocery giveaway to the backpack giveaways to the clothing giveaways, clothing drives, to even, I'm going to say the 4th of July. The 4th of July, we do the community cookout where every year we feed between 200 to 300 people and it's free. And we took that upon ourselves just to do it because kids are out of school during the summer. If they don't have proper food or whatever, we, at least for one day, we want to give them something to eat, a meal food and things like that. So that's why community service is important to me, and that's why I do it. So outside of everything else, I'm still going to be an advocate. I'm still going to do what I do in community service and still try to reach and change somebody's lives through my actions.
My community service actually began when I became a Eastern Star. It's definitely a community service-based organization, and we always giving back. Recently, I've given back with one of my girlfriends, her Lady in Teal organization, for the ovarian cancer awareness. She did a feeding the homeless in September. I can't remember the exact date. I apologize, but that was an awesome experience to be able to give back to those who are really in need. And she always has helped me to understand that for people. And I've always knew that that was something that I wanted to do, was going to do. And now with this and being in the pageantry and ensuring that this pageant, because it believes in community, I know that it'll be something I will continue to do.
Amen.
Some African American women are seen as sexual objects, short tempered, fighting, and not willing to compromise for a cause or anything like that. In your pageantry, how can you change the stigma of African American women?
Basically, today we're all sitting here, and I just met Kenya, and so that shows right there just the camaraderie of who we are individuals outside of the pageant. I think that we represent today, if the three of us are sitting here, that those stereotypical thoughts should be null and void at this point, if you guys will agree with me.
No, I agree.
I think by taking this, the crown, I use my crown to serve, right? And that is also closing the gap and killing the stereotypical thoughts around pageantry and Black women as a whole. And so I think that if we continue to do what we're doing today, coming together, because Sharon says together we make a difference.
Yep.
And so if African Americans in this pageant, the women, we represent class, and we sustain that elegance, and we represent American elegance in itself. So if you think about that title, the pageant, American elegance. So we do everything with dignity and elegance.
I agree with that. I mean, and my biggest thing too, I don't know if anyone knows, but aren't there 5 African American queens now? I think Miss Teen USA.
There's a few.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, they're on the cover of Ebony this year. That shows that the Miss Teen, the one who just won, she won
the United.
yes.
Oh, period. Okay.
She won. When she won, she wore her hair natural.
Okay.
She wore her hair all natural, which was completely different than any of the other women in there. And she said that she wanted to show her true essence of who she was as an African American woman, and she won. And then I think the one who just won the pageant that just had, she's African American, and so we are. All of us, and I say we because we are all sister queens. No matter what pageantry system we're in, we are still united as sisters. And just by us working together, and Naja may be one color, I'm a lighter color, she may be a darker color, we're still one and the same. We're still showing elegance. We're still showing sophistication. We're still showing that we don't have to fight each other for a crown. We are sisters. We do this together. We work together, and together. And I say this all the time. Together, we make a difference, because together we can do things. One person can make a difference, but if we all work together, we can make big things happen.
I really don't like the stereotype of. Now. Don't get me wrong. I am a advocate of watching reality TV. I do like it, but I don't like the fact that how they stereotype. That bothers me to no end. And I'm got into the pageant because I wanted to be in a sisterhood that took that out, that just made sure that wasn't something that was the norm. And I've seen that just in the last, I think I've only been in the circuit for about 3 months. And I've felt nothing but love from everyone. No one, like, we are competing. It is a competition, so we definitely are competing against each other, but it's not a competition where we're trying to bring each other down. We're definitely trying to make sure each other is lifted, and not just ourselves, but our community and everyone to know that this is not something that's just because maybe you think you're cute or whatever. It's to serve and to serve everyone and be a servant leader.
Don't you think sometimes people... What?
Because I know when you that, don't you think sometimes you finna get a real deep question, so... Okay.
Like,
just
ready.
Comment.
Well, don't you think sometimes people use the word like outside? Let's say, hey, Queen, how you doing? And then what would be your response in a normal conversation of a guy trying to holler at you, saying that Queen? Don't you think sometimes they're using the word Queen loosely?
I knew that's where you were going, Roman.
Huh?
I knew that's where
See,
you were
I told
going.
you, Roman, every time he do that.
So
what
no,
do you
I would
think?
rather be called a queen by anyone, right? So I don't think it's being done loosely. I would rather be called that than the alternative, right? Right? Like, we know that they loosely use other words. So if you're going to address me as queen, then you address me right.
Yeah.
So
And I'm
let's
getting
be
a
clear.
hard rap from Earl. So congratulations.
Thank
in
you.
advance.
So you guys can come out and see us.
And I
Go
want you
ahead.
guys to thrive often and thrive always. You know what it is. I want you guys to know that you are more than enough.
And thanks to Earl Winfrey, our executive producer, Wanda, who's behind the scenes. See you next week with the mayor of Broadview, Katrina
Let's
Thompson.
go. Yeah.
Next week.
You are tuned into the #1 radio station in the world. IntellectualRadio.com. Feed your brain.